So we're upgrading our main bathroom vanity from a single sink to a double sink vanity. And since there was a single sink, there's only one water connection and drain pipe in the wall. And fortunately, it fits perfectly where one of the new sinks is. But then there's the other sink over here, which doesn't have anything in the wall. And we were recommended to do the plumbing in the wall, run the piping through the wall to the other sink. And yes, if it's new construction, you're planning to do a double sink, and the wall's already torn up, the drywall's already torn up, that's probably a good idea. But we just spent a lot of time repairing the drywall from the removing the cabinets, not thinking that we're going to put a two sinker in here. And so I don't want to go through the process of doing the plumbing in the wall and having to repair the drywall again, because it really sucks to, like, even if you get to hire someone, you have to hire the plumber, and then you got to hire the drywall, and it takes a long time. So what I want to do is just run it through the cabinet and use the same outlet and run it through the cabinet here. From one side here, make a hole in this wall through the center where the drawers are, behind the drawers, there's space behind the drawers, and out on this side. Now, the issue is that, like, these standard P-trap 1¼ inch piping, they don't have T connectors for this, at least not in the hardware stores. So I had to come up with a solution that's going to look something like this, where it has the T, and so I'm using PVC, glued together PVC. It's not glued together yet. And then there's these couplers that allow you to fit with a marble connector, a PVC coupler with a marble connector that allows you to fit onto the standard 1¼ inch bathroom plumbing. And so what we have here is this is the T that's going from, I'll show you, the 90 degree at the bottom is going to fit onto the drain pipe here in the wall, and that's going to use a rubber coupler to attach there. Then this P-trap from this sink is going to fit into the bottom connector here, and I need to cut some stuff shorter and stuff, so into the bottom part of the T. And then the top of the T is going to be up here, and it goes to the back. Things are falling apart as I'm talking about it. We'll see it better later when it's all connected together. This goes above here, and it's going to cross over through a hole. I'm going to have to drill a hole here. It's going to cross over. It's going to cross behind these drawers. You can see the slides and basically where the back of the drawer is. It's going to cross behind the drawers, go through that wall, come out over here, and then I'm going to put a 45 degree fixture over here that's going to attach into the pipe, into the 1¼ inch drain from over here. Now it's going to have to be pretty high, so we're going to have to raise, so I'm going to have to cut this pipe shorter so I can raise this to the maximum height to be about this height here. So kind of pushing the limits on the heights and stuff, but I think everything should work out because it's a fairly low flow drain. This is a 2 1/4 inch drill. I need to get the maximum height out of this that I can, so I'm going to cut the drain tube coming out of the sink to about right here so that this can fit on as high as possible. Now this can fit up here completely to the top. I'm going to drill a hole in through this side. I'm keeping it pretty close to level or just a tiny bit higher than just a little bit higher than the other side. I don't want to make it too high because the PVC is rigid, so just a tiny bit higher. This fitting on the outside it just barely fits through here. So you could actually push these fittings, you can actually be able to push these fittings in afterwards. Now, I don't know if I'm using the 45 degree, I probably can't pass that through with the, yeah, I can't pass that through with the pipe attached to it. Now I also have this system as an alternative that I could use. Can't pass this through. I could pass this through like that, and that would actually probably work even better, to use this snappy trap here. Goes into this space over here. It's got just enough flexibility back here that it's going to make it easier to interface with the PVC pipe in here. I can glue the PVC pipe and everything outside of this and then put it through the hole instead of having to pass pieces through the hole and glue it while it's through the hole. That may work better. To interface with the PVC pipe, I found this 1.5 inch marble connector to 1.5 inch PVC. So this snappy trap uses a 1.5 inch because it's from the kitchen system, and this fits over that fine, and then you can interface the PVC pipe with that. The PVC is going to come in from the other side, so the snappy trap flexible tube can just pass through here. I haven't tightened this up, so this came off over here. The other alternative is to use the standard style 1.25 inch plumbing and then come through with the PVC pipe and connect in here and give it enough angle. Have to shorten this down, but give enough angle that connects. But you see that this is a very kind of rigid connection and there's not a lot of flexibility, so everything has to be cut to the right length and aligned properly. Versus if I use a snappy trap, then it's going to allow me to be flexible. And here's the whole assembly that's going to fit in there. So what we have is we have a short piece of PVC pipe that this flexible coupler is going to fit over because I'm trying to adapt to a copper pipe in the back. So the 1.5 inch copper pipe is going to fit in here. This attaches onto the PVC. Then we have a 90-degree street flange. So it goes from female to male. There's this T here. It fits right in that T. I don't need to use another piece of PVC, so just quicker, faster, and easier to put together. And then we've got this T, and this is a 1.25 inch marble connector to PVC connector. This is where the first drain is going to go in. Then we have another street flange going from male end to female end. Then we have a 45-degree street flange here that is turning to this, it's going from male to female also, and turning to this PVC pipe. And then at the end of this PVC pipe, there's another marble connector that's a 1.5 inch marble connector that's going to connect into the snappy trap flexible pipe. So let's see. This can go behind here, pass through like that, and then this can, if you can just get the shelf out of the way just a tiny bit. Oh, there we go. Then I can pass this through here. Try to get the shelf back up in here. Okay, that all barely fit in there. So the shelf actually can go in and out like this. So, okay, so I can take the shelf off right now. Good. All right. I don't know which goes on first. Just put this on first. We can tighten the hose clamps in the back. All right, so that part of the drain is set. Now let's see if the shelf fits back in. See how I got the shelf out in the first place. There, there, there. Okay, perfect. Shelf fits back in, everything looks good here. Let's slide on over to the middle here. In the middle we have the snappy trap tube coming in, and it's going to connect into this 1.5 inch marble fitting here. And I have a gentle angle going down in this direction. So everything should keep flowing all the time. And now over here, we have the snappy trap system. So this is facing straight back, so we get the least interference with stuff in here. Give it the most rise I can get out of it. I just don't want any water sitting above this connector here. Snappy trap has a little bit better finger grabs on their connectors. Get more torque and tightening. Okay, so I think that's good. Drain plumbing is all finished. We have this snappy trap drain plumbing system that's going through, that uses a flexible hose to pass through this wall. And then here, the flexible hose connects into a Marvel to PVC fitting. It follows a PVC pipe, and then it reaches here and connects into a 45-degree fitting, then down into a 90-degree fitting, and here into a T. And the other sink P-trap drains and goes into the side of this T, and then it follows into another 90-degree fitting, and there's a piece of PVC, and we have a rubber flexible coupling that's hooking it into the wall. Now it's time to do the water in, the hot and the cold water lines. And that's gonna be pretty simple. We're just gonna take the two sides and put a T and run a water line to the T. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do here is connect the water coming in with a sink on the right and a sink up on the left. And the first thing is that this house, I don't know if it's just older houses or what, it's got a 1/2 inch compression fitting on the valves. So I have to get this 1/2 inch to 3/8 inch adapter and use this adapter right here. Then I'm going to use this brass T adapter, so it's designed to fit on the valve and go between and to fork off to 2 different connections for 2 faucets. What I'm going to use I'm not going to hook it up on the valve. I was able to find these 3/8 compression to 3/8 valve fittings. So it's compression fittings on both ends, although they use rubber seals in here instead of the compression type fittings. But then it has this compression fitting on this end, so it's actually a female to male cable, which is perfect because then I can attach this end onto the valve, and then this end can attach onto this splitter. So this end will go onto the valve. I'm going to attach this one on the left top here, this T. All right, and now I can attach this right faucet here. Probably gonna attach all this stuff up here too. Put some connectors on the back wall and attach the stuff back here so it's out of the way. Now we do the same thing, repeat for the hot water side. It looks like a rat's nest right now, but I can clean it up a little bit. Like I said, tie this stuff back and keep it out of the way. And try to avoid any undue stress points. Now that all the plumbing's finished being set up, it's draining well, but I did notice one issue is that both of the drains are connected together after the P-trap. Therefore, if one of them, this one especially, this one drains through this one, then once the water comes through behind, you'll hear it. Yeah, you'll hear that glug, glug, glug. So it's pulling a vacuum that's pulling the water out of the P-trap on this side of the drain. You can hear that. So every time I run water over here on the left side, and it passes through, it's pulling a vacuum on this P-trap. Because what happens is this P-trap is deeper because it's a different P-trap. It's this one right here, and it's deeper than and holds more water than this one underneath here. So it's pulling the water out of this one because this one is the easiest one to pull the water out of. So the solution is going to be to put an air admittance valve after the P-trap. So this if you put a valve here, it's going to be after the P-trap on both sides. It's going to be on the PVC plumbing in the back too. So the easiest one is to use a 1.5 inch P-trap kit. You can't see the pipe on the bottom of this one, but let's open this up, see what's inside. This was Amazon warehouse, so it was like a box that was messed up or maybe returned unused. This is the air admittance valve, and it's going to screw into the top of this T here. It's going to thread into there. The screw-on end of the marble connector, it comes with adapters for 1.5 and 1.25 inch, and that would work well for bathroom plumbing fixtures, bathroom sinks. But this other end is 1.5 inch, so you can't just tee it in there. You would have to then connect to a 1.5 inch fixture. So 1.25 here to 1.5 fitting. But if you wanted, you wouldn't be able to go 1.25 to 1.25. You'd have to have some extra plumbing on this end. Presumably, this is designed to then fit into a 1.5 inch marble to PVC connector on there. The instructions do say that you need to add some Teflon tape to this thread here. So I'm going to be using this 1.5 inch fitting here. I'm going to undo this fitting here. Slip this vent over this fitting here, and I may have to shorten this other one here, this other pipe. Okay, I'm gonna have to shorten this side a little bit on the PVC pipe, so shorten that length in there, because this needs to, I need to be able to rotate this around further and clear the clear the stopper back here. It needs to be rotated like this. So I can have clearance for the stopper piece. So I need to shorten this length by about 4 or 5 inches, and that will be done in the PVC piece in the wall. Well, I temporarily removed the shelf so that I could rotate the P-trap a little bit more and add the air admittance valve, just so I can at least see whether this worked to solve the gurgling problem. And then later I can go inside of the cabinet over here and shorten this hose, this length of PVC that fits on, that this hose fits onto. Let's just see if this works. So normally if I released a bunch of water from this side, on the left side, it would make the right side gurgle. So here you see the water I have here. So let's see if this gurgles. It's releasing. It's usually when it released all the way down. No more gurgling. Let's just try running this one. Even just running it would make it gurgle. No. Try running this one. Let's solve the gurgling issue. No more gurgling here. So the air admittance valve does work to solve the gurgling and remove the vacuum that's created inside the tubes.